Greetings. I'm going to be giving my console of impression of Arcane. I just finished season 2, and I think, like everybody else, it was really good. And I have like 98% more things that I like than things that I dislike. And the things that I dislike are because I overthink everything. um, okay, I'm just gonna get into it. So, Arcane is super good. The art is like groundbreaking. The music, the characters, the writing, just wow, chef's kiss, mwah mwah, thank you. I binged it. I received advice that I should wait between season 1 and 2 and let it marinate, and I followed that advice for about 30 minutes, and then I kept watching it because I couldn't stop watching it. Um, and my thoughts. I really like Echo. I really like Jinx slash Powder. I like the creepy scientist guy. I liked him a lot, actually. I think that's kind of just like a trope I really like, or like weird little science men that like make little like nee sounds and like do like questionable experiments. I dug that guy. He was cool. Bonus points for having a daughter and a sad backstory. Mwah, chef's kiss. Um, Bonus points for him slinking about. I love a good slinking, creepy scientist. The other scientist that I freaking loved was Heimendinger. There's a part where he goes, "Oh, fizzle snaps" or something, and I literally went, like I went tee hee in like love for this like character. He's just so wholesome in his little voice and his little walk, and he's good. He doesn't have many like character like flaws, or like he's not much of like a three-dimensional character, but that's okay. I don't need him to be complex. I like him as the silly little man that he is. Um, love Jinx. I mean, obviously, she is like probably one of the best written characters in the show. She's just super complex. I like particularly actually this was more maybe in season 1, but like the depiction of her like delusions and mental illness I thought was actually really good. I personally don't care for Harley Quinn as a character, because I don't like she it's not fun to be mentally ill basically. Like it's really annoying to me when there's like a crazy character and they're like having a great time, and I'm not out here saying like I'm just like them, like not even, but like in my experience of like not being mentally well and being like delusional, it's like miserable. So yeah, even when Jinx like looked like she was having a good time of blowing people up and being like bleh, like she was, you could tell she was like not having a good time. Like even the scene in the beginning where she like shoots the crow because it chirped. I feel like if it was a different like less thoughtful character like Harley Quinn, she had shot the bird, she'd be like, that one flew the coop, or say some stupid shit like that. And Jinx just looks like haunted. And I really like, I was like, oh, okay. I think I was a little nervous at first when it showed her, like, she was like, hello. And then her, like, tinkering with her music at first. I was like, oh, Lord, please don't make this goth, like, anime Harley Quinn. Like, please, not Harley Quinn Part 2. But it was, like, actually really good. So, thank you, Echo. Also, like, a character that when you look at it, like, he doesn't actually have any flaws, but, like, I don't care. Like, he's just a really cool character. He's not, and he doesn't even come across as, like, a Mary Sue. Like, because he's very just, like, kind of like a guy. Like, he's just there. He's got, like, good principles and a good head on his shoulders, and he's, like, pretty cool. And it's, like, and he comes in clutch at the end in, like, the coolest way, so it's, like, there's really nothing to dislike about him. And again, not in an like annoying way, like, oh, there's nothing wrong with this person, he's perfect, how irritating. It's like, oh no, like, yeah, there's nothing to really dislike about Echo. He's pretty freaking cool. I guess I like, maybe, I guess I didn't like his hair so much, like, hairstyle for him, because in the like the alternate universe it looks so much cooler and better, and I loved it tied back. I was like, why isn't it like that? He looks so cool and mature. Anyways, yeah, Silco, cool. Vander, cool. Who else? Oh, okay. Jace. I love Jace. I'm sorry. Like, apparently people don't or have mixed opinions about Jace. Evidently from the internet. Maybe I'm wrong, but sorry, I'm like pruning my wilting plant because it's cold and dry in Japan right now, so everything is dying. I like Jace. He's a good-hearted character who cares about his loved ones, but definitely has some hubris, and that's pretty nice. Good writing. Victor. I thought like his shift to like evil Victor was kind of like I like I guess it was good, but like I didn't like it. I was like, oh, I don't like Victor like this. Like Victor, why are you doing this? I guess I wasn't sure if it was like the core or like Victor doing that, or like the core had like possessed him and it was just the core and like Victor wasn't there anymore. It wasn't really clear. I guess more in the end it was like much less Victor, but yeah, and I liked, who else? Oh, I liked Mel. Okay, this is where I'm gonna start kind of migrating into my hot takes. I did not like what they did with Mel in season 2. Like, I really liked Mel as a character in season 1 because she was, one, like super hot, and every time she was on screen, I was just like watching very respectfully. like, oh, like God, the Greek myth about the guy that makes a statue and he falls in love with it. It's like, what, like, this is like happening in real life with like millions of people now with these characters because they're so beautiful. Anyways, I really liked that she was not like a like physically powerful character, because we had a lot of really like badass fighters and bad bitches, like good fighters, and Mel was more kind of like a smart force to be reckoned with. Like, she knew how to spin people. Like, I love the scene with Jace where she's like telling him like, oh, like she's like spilling all the tea, and like, or like the scene where she's picking the puzzle for like the chair guy, and the guy goes like, but that's for a child, and she's like, it's perfect. And then you see she gave it to like the head of the council as a present. Like, that wasn't Mel at my fate, like Mel at her best for me, because it was just like a good contrast. So I don't know. I didn't like what they did with her character in season 2. Because for one, it was just like there's so much going on that like, oh, now there's like a whole new race and lore and powers and like what is happening, and also Mel is like a witch, but like, okay, I don't know. I thought she was more like, what's the word, like formidable, when she was just like a normal person who like was really freaking smart and like good at reading a room and knew like how to like manipulate people. Maybe manipulate is kind of like a gross word, but like she was good at it. So I don't know. I respected her a lot more in what they did with her in season 1. In season 2, they make her like have witch powers, and not to sound like a dick, but like they weren't even that good. Like, I don't think there was, I mean, other than the moment where she came in clutch and like saved like Chase and Caitlyn, obviously, like, but it was still just kind of like, okay, like, you can like do energy stuff. Like, it kind of almost more served as like a plot device for them to just get away to beat Mbessa. Like, it wasn't even really like a badass power. And I feel like compared to the other characters' kind of like abilities and stuff, it was kind of just like okay, like Mel has light powers. Sometimes they work for like 99% of the show. They don't even really do anything except when like they finally get the charm thing off at the end, and then she like one-shots Mbessa, but it was kind of like there wasn't much like payoff. Like, it didn't feel like there was, what's the word, like, it didn't feel like it had been like hard won or worked for. Like, I would have really loved to see like season Mel with her season 1 kind of like abilities, like somehow outsmart Mbessa, or like maybe play Mbessa's like flaws and ambition and revenge against her, maybe luring her into like the final pinch perfect situation or environment for our other heroes to like come in and like get a really vital shot at her and her army, like, or I don't know, maybe instead of Jace like negotiating with the underside people or the council, like it could have been more of Mel, like she just kind of like disappears through the season, and then there's like a bunch of lore dropped about characters we don't know, and it's just really confusing. I don't know, maybe I'm just like not smarter than a fifth grader, and other people were knowing what was going on and were like, yeah, this makes a lot of sense and I'm invested. But for me, I was just kind of like, I kind of want to go back to the other stuff. Like, can we get Mel out of this weird shit and like let her go do her bad bitch stuff in the council? Like, So yeah, I didn't care for that. Honestly, like, her whole thing with Ambessa was like cool, but I don't think she needed to be a witch. I think it would have worked better and cleaner if she was a normal person and like used her wits to beat her mom. And then it would have been, I think, more satisfying for her principles and her character. Because at the end, like, Ambessa says something like, oh, you were a wolf anyways. Because she used force to beat her mom, who uses force. And it kind of, like, for me was like it didn't really feel like Mel's win in a weird way. Like, she won using her mom's principles, like, her mom's way. Yeah, it was her powers, and she, like, gave her mom a hug, and she was sad, but it was still kind of, especially at the end, like, where she's sitting on the warship going back to her country, like, she doesn't look happy. I don't get the sense that Mel gets a happy ending, which, like, sucks. I wanted a happy ending for her. I wanted, like, her to be in charge of Piltover or something. Like, why did she have to go back? Not fair. They did her dirty, in my opinion. Moving on to Caitlyn. I liked Caitlyn a lot. She had a pretty face also. I would also look at it very intently and be like, what a great face. Like, I love this face. I wish her character had not been spent on her romance with Vi. Sorry. It could have been done better. But anyways, I wanted more screen time with Caitlyn, where she was, like, developed more outside of her relationship with Vi. Because there were instances where, it's particularly in season 2, where, like, Caitlyn's mom dies. And, like, I didn't have any feelings about that. And Caitlyn's really sad, and her dad's really sad. And as I recall, like, in season 1, Caitlyn's mom is, like, a huge bitch. And, like, really classist and unlikable. And, like, there's no scene of, like, her and Caitlyn having a tender moment and it being like, oh, wow, this is, like, a relationship between two people that love each other. So, like, when the mom dies and Caitlyn is sad, I was kind of like, okay, like, I get that this makes sense for the plot, that she should be sad and be fueled by revenge. But, like, also, I don't care. Yeah, and I was really interested in Caitlyn's family lore. They kind of, like, popped in, like, oh yeah, Caitlyn's, like, mom has all these records. Like, they never, I feel like, and again, maybe this is just a moment I didn't catch, but, like, I feel like they never even told us what, like, the Kerouacs, Caitlyn, Kerouac, whatever. I didn't even know, like, what her family did. They were, like, important. They were maybe the founders. It looks like maybe they, like, had maps of the city. Maybe they were, like, bookkeepers. I don't know. I wanted to know more. Like, I wanted to know, like, what was she inheriting? Like, what was her legacy? Like, I wanted to learn about, like, the lore of the founders and Caitlyn and, like, her growing, and I wanted her mom to not be a huge bitch so I'd feel sad when she died. So yeah, I kind of was disappointed that Caitlyn as a character got often kind of, like, globbed on with Vi, and it was like, oh, look at the spice, and it's like, okay, cool, but, like, it's not as interesting as the other stuff going on, frankly. And so I guess I'm going to go to my most spicy take. Yeah, I did not really care for Vi Caitlyn. Like, I just didn't think their relationship was very interesting or very, like, deep. Like, it's because I hate lesbians. No. It's because, like, how do I put this? There was no, like, tenderness between them, I think, maybe? Like, Okay, for example, like the scene with Echo and Powder, right? Like they have that dance. The iconic scene, like it was all over my feed. Um like there was just so much chemistry, and like you could tell those characters like really cared about each other. Even though Echo was kind of like, what's going on? Like you could still tell like there was something special there. And with Vi and Caitlin, I didn't necessarily get that feeling. Like it kind of reminded me a bit of those 90s like movies, or maybe it was early 80s, where it was like the romance was were them just like teasing each other and kind of like being like, I don't know, like, oh, I hate you, you're so smelly. And then it's like they are in love all of a sudden, and it was like, oh, them insulting each other was them being in love, apparently. It kind of felt like that. I don't know. I'm still kind of trying to wrap my head around what it precisely like about the relationship felt like off. But yeah, I guess it kind of felt more focused on like them making out and having like sex, which is fine. Like if they're that's totally cool to have like characters that like kind of have like maybe a shallow-ish relationship, and like they're attracted to each other and date, and that's cool, like no problem. But like don't give it so much screen time and let it take away from other like aspects of the characters involved that would maybe flesh them out and make them more interesting, and then maybe make their relationship with each other better. I don't know. Like okay, another one, like Jace and Victor, like maybe they're not even necessarily romantic. I don't know. I'm still up in the air if I like ship them romantically or not, but like I don't know, like I saw this one comment online that was like the last scene of them together like dying together was more gay than the gay sex scene. Like because it was just so like intimate. It was such like a close moment. Whereas like with Vi and Kate, they just kind of like smashed in the prison, and I'm thinking like, isn't that cold? Also, like it felt like the format was like Caitlyn would be or Vi would be like really sad, like something terrible would happen, and then like Caitlyn would be around, or they'd find each other somehow, and then they'd like say some things to each other, and then maybe like kiss, and it was kind of like okay. I like I feel conflicted about Vi as a character as well. I like her. Like she's sweet. She cares about people. She's a good fighter, and she's cute. Like what's not to like? Um, she's adorable as a kid, and I really liked her voice actress. I thought her voice actress did a really good job. But I think I didn't care for Vi as a character so much, or at least like what they did with her character. Maybe that's more accurate, because like it didn't feel like Vi had any like like a sense of self outside of the other people in her like life. Like what did Vi want outside of like Powder? And like okay, does like save her home, like sure, but kill Silco, like yeah, like I think in season one it felt much more concrete, like kind of who Vi was and what she wanted. But then after like her whole fight with Caitlyn, she kind of becomes a drunk. Like well, not even after that. It was kind of like after season one, like after all that, she kind of like joins Caitlyn. Like how does she just kind of becomes this very like passive character to me, which like sounds weird to say because, you know, if I look objectively at what happened in the story, she was very active in what was going on, but like it never felt like anything outside of like just trying to help people in her life. So I don't know. At the end, that was another thing where it was like, okay, like her and Powder are separating. Like, okay, that's sad. But like her ending up with Caitlyn and that being the end to her character arc for the like show felt really like it felt very, I don't know. It just felt really shallow. It was like, oh, the best thing that she gets is a relationship. But like Homie was codependent. Like she needed to find something outside of other people. Granted, she was in prison, so she's very emotionally damaged and traumatized. But like, I don't know. It didn't feel like the happiest ending with her and Caitlyn being together in the end. Because it was kind of like, besides attraction, like, what do they actually love about each other? Oh, maybe I just named it. Oh, okay, like that. I think that's what about the relationship I don't really get. It's like I don't see what connects them other than like an attraction to one another and like a shared goal that like helping each other out helps them do. Like like Jace and Victor love science and they want to change the world together and they're passionate about this thing and they do it together and like they talk about it and they like have moments where they talk about things they like. Like they just do casual things together or like even just the one episode with Powder and Echo, like they talk about things they like to do together, they dance together, like I don't know, they seem like two people that like makes they would be better, they be would like be bring out the best in each other. But like with Caitlyn and Vi, it was kind of like okay, like maybe Caitlyn loosens Vi up a bit and like or sorry, opposite. Maybe Vi loosens Caitlyn up a bit. Maybe like Caitlyn can be Vi's sugar mommy. I guess nothing wrong with that, but like I don't know. Again, nothing wrong with the relationship necessarily, but it felt like it kind of became the end all be all of those two characters, and it was like it's not a deep enough relationship for that to work in my opinion. Like they could have done something different. I don't know. Like maybe if I could have been like, yo, this was all pretty fucked up. My sister just died. I think I'm gonna go like travel the world and I don't know. Like maybe she goes and like rebuilds, like helps rebuild the underground and maybe she opens back up Vander's bar. But even then it's like she's like just becoming Vander, which I feel like would be her not growing into her own person. So maybe that's not good. But not me trying to give therapy to fictional, not real people. What else? I think that was about all I really wanted to like bitch and moan about. Other than that, the show is really good. Oh, I guess yeah. And Bessa, I liked her as a villain. She was really cool, like very like formidable, like a very formidable enemy. Which I don't need her to like. Honestly, I'm a shallow person. Like I don't need her to be like super like ooey gooey. I'm doing this because I love you. Like I'm totally content watching her just beat the shit out of people and be scary. Like she did a great job at that, which is why again to bring it back to like the Black Rose and the like the brother. It's still really unclear for me like what even happened to the brother. Like at first it sounded like he went to go kill the Black Rose and then he got killed and that's why. But then they said like, oh, but you don't know what your mother did, and like you don't know what she did to your brother. And it was like, well, did she kill the brother? And it's like, oh no, she let him go, or she. It was just like, what? Like, why can't she just be like a cool baddie who just like is scary as fuck and is gonna like kill everyone unless the gang gets together? Like, I don't know. I didn't need all that extra stuff. I don't think Jinx is dead. I I saw the thing with the blimp, like the blimp is flying away, and then you go back to the first episode, and the blimp like comes into the shot. I don't know. I think that's a little too coinkadinky for me. Anyways, I would rate this show 9.5 out of 10. I guess I think there were too many characters. I get it's for League of Legends, I guess. So they probably wanted to put in lots of like characters that people who play the game would recognize and get excited about. But like for me as like a normie who has never leagued a legend, I was just kind of like, oh, it's like that's my theory as to why they gave Mel superpowers was because maybe she's a legend leaguer in the game, and maybe in the game she has those kinds of powers, and it was supposed to be like a big like hype moment, but for me I was just kind of like, what's happening? um, what else? I guess I'm kind of running out of steam, but I'm having fun talking about it. I kind of had hoped Heimendinger would come back in the end. Like, okay, if he had like been the Deus Ex Machina, maybe not that, but like I don't know if he'd come back and be like, what did I miss? Like, he gets the corny lines, okay? Like, take them from Harley Quinn, give them to Heimendinger, let him show up and be like, like, let him say silly things, let him come back from the dead and be like, what did I, oh, looks like I stepped into quite the kerfuffle. And then he, like, pulls out a Glock, like, I don't know, like, I wanted him to come back. I was sad that he just, like, stayed dead. My friend who, like, knows about this told me he's, like, a, what is it called? Like, a wizzy or something? That's definitely not right. And he, like, rebirthed in another universe, which is, like, okay, cool. I guess. Oh, okay, the real question, though. Who is the hottest character? I feel like I've put myself in an impossible situation. I'll just say, I think there are characters for everyone's taste. Truly a very multifaceted show. Oh, okay, one more thing I wanted to say. Like, 100 million points for, like, it being a show of, like, mostly women and it never feeling like it was a show for women, if that makes sense. Like, most stuff I don't usually watch stuff that comes out like in movie theaters or Hollywood because it's not highbrow enough. No, that's not true. But okay. Anyways, that was cringe. But anyways, I liked that like there were moments where I was watching the show. I was like, oh, like these are all female characters, but it never felt it was like girl power. Like, women, do you feel empowered? Like, I never felt like the show was trying to be like, are you empowered? Or like with the queer relationships and characters, it was never like, do you feel pride? Are you proud? Like, it was just very like normal. Like, they were normal people doing things. That was cool. It was like, oh, like I could show this show to my parents and they maybe wouldn't be super homophobic about it even because it's like, you know, they're like characters. Yeah. Oh wow, we're coming up on 30 minutes. Yes, it was great. Arcane is wonderful, and I'll probably be rewatching it in the future, and maybe I'll come out with another video. So